Oh, what's up, Game Weepers? Coach Jizz has returned, and in this upload, boy am I excited, because it is very rare that someone on the planet reaches 1700 LP. That's more LP than all of you watching combined. So after recovering from that roast, hopefully you are in the mood to go out and abuse the secret tips and techniques the rank 1 player in Korea uses that you have to as well. We're going to be talking about mechanics, trading, what to do when you get to your lane, how to not die to every single gank, a bunch of topics that all of you can relate to regardless of the role and champions you play. Now, as you smash that sub button as hard as the Jizz smashes it in the morning, I want you to also check out the amazing GameLeap website for Challenger tier League of Legends videos that thousands of your fellow summoners have exclusive access to. Whether it's a champion guide, an in-depth high elo analysis, the Jizz and Co upload close to 20 videos a week, not a fortnight, not a month, every week. So get signed up to achieve your rank goals this season. Links as always in the description and comment section. Now, before we get into the real nitty-gritty gameplay, I think it's most important for you guys to know that I actually phoned GUMAYUSI last night, legit. And GUMAYUSI is the Korean rank 1 at the moment, and he's also Faker's AD carry. And I told him, I said, hey mate, I'm making a video for GameLeap. Is there any chance you can tell me the secret to getting to rank 1? And you know what he said? He said he couldn't have done it without T1 in his name. And he elaborated and then said it intimidates your enemy. So log into the client, guys, splash the RP or BE and put T1 at the start of your name. Not only will your opponent be scared to do anything, you will get away with everything. So thanks to Mr. GUMAYUSI for that game-breaking tip. Okay, now we're going to be watching 3 early games of Mr. GUMAYUSI, and if you want to have 1,000 gold lead over your opponent by level 5, if you want to have the enemy team already typing FF because they can't handle your skills, then listen up. Now in this first game, guys, Mr. GUMAYUSI is on Jin. And what does he do here? Why do you think he's auto-attacking this minion? Who wants to tell me? Come on. Well, he's auto-attacking this minion, right? Because he likes auto-attacking. No, he's auto-attacking the minion because he wants to get to level 2 first. And in any lane, guys, if you have level 2, if you have that extra number next to your name, you have the control over that lane. Because level 2 against level 1, well, what does this mean? Well, this means you have double the cooldowns of the enemy champions and you have innate better stats, right? So as soon as you get to your lane, guys, like Mr. GUMAYUSI does, use your auto attacks on the minions. Use your abilities on the minions when it's safe, of course. And in this lane, as you can see against this Varus and Set, Mr. GUMAYUSI has the push and therefore has control over the lane. And it's a lot easier to play than if the wave is coming into you and then you've got to withstand all the poke and harass the enemy champions are throwing at you. You are the ones with that poke and harass. You are the ones with control over that lane. And as you can see, when Mr. GUMAYUSI hits level 2, his positioning changes, doesn't it? Look where he's standing in the lane. He's not standing at max range from Varus anymore, is he? He's looking to fight. He's actually looking, hey bro, you want to fight? Let's go. I'm level 2, you're level 1. Let's duel. And after almost landing his W onto him, which may actually result even in a kill, Mr. GUMAYUSI already has a health advantage, so you guys can in your games, and no doubt, trust me, that when you hit level 2 first in this bot lane, whether it's in silver, gold, bronze, sometimes even in diamond master, grandmaster, you are going to get kills just off of this alone by getting that push. Now, as this lane kind of calms down a bit, you can see here that Mr. GUMAYUSI wards this river, and you can also see the red team is pinging that there might be someone here, so there's an enemy missing. So the red team, Mr. GUMAYUSI's team, is aware that the enemy Rek'Sai might be nearby, and he actually is in fact. So what Mr. GUMAYUSI does here is so critical and so important, and something that the best players in the world do. When they know, guys, that the enemy jungler is near their lane, guess what? This is going to impact their positioning, right? So where they stand in the lane. Now, most players, guys, in lower elos are just going to stand in the middle of the lane. You have to realize that there are influences on your lane. So when the enemy jungler in this clip is bot side of the map, Rek'Sai is actually over this wall near the tri-brush. Mr. GUMAYUSI knows that this is a real thing and a possibility that might happen. So he's standing away from that wall that Rek'Sai might go over. And just because he's aware of this, he is able to flash as soon as Set flashes in to try and engage onto him. Now, it might look crazy, right? He's got Faker level mechanics here and reaction time. But what's really important, what sets this up, is just the fact that he's aware and anticipating a play like this to happen because Rek'Sai is bottom side of the map. And I can guarantee you in this exact situation, so many players, I reckon 99% of AD carries are going to die. But Mr. GUMAYUSI, because he's aware of that threat, creates as much space as he can from that threat, guys, and this is why he's able to get out and survive. Even though his support dies here, which I also want to point out, do not try to save your support if they're already dead, just let them die. No reason to go in, just maintain that space and stay safe. But this is the biggest way to avoid those jungle ganks, guys, in the early laning phase, to position away from where they might gank you from. Do not stand close to that wall, do not stand close to that river brush. Now this fight is going to continue, guys, and this next tip I'm going to give you is actually pretty similar to the one I just gave you with standing away from the threat, right? Well, Rek'Sai is now here. So if you think about the map for a second, guys, Galio is in the mid lane, the enemy Galio, and the enemy Jace is in the top lane. So in terms of the actual map, there are 3 champions in GUMAYUSI's lane here, which means that there are going to be no surprises, right? He's not going to be getting ganked from the river or from behind him. All he has to focus on is these 3 champions in front of him. So as Mr. GUMAYUSI lands a beautiful W onto Varus, Varus and starts auto-attacking the Rek'Sai, why do you think he's moving in this line? Why do you think he isn't moving towards the brushes? Well, that's because Set is in there and he can combo Mr. GUMAYUSI and potentially kill him. So he's always maintaining that space, guys, and standing away from the threat. He's trying to stand at max auto-attack range at all times. And because of this, and because Set and because Varus are so scared because he has T1 in his name, they don't even touch him for this entire sequence, and he ends up getting, well, Kindred 3 kills anyway. So as a general rule of thumb, guys, when you're fighting in a numbers disadvantage, a 2v3 or 1v2, whatever it is, do not run into those brushes. Stay at your range. Maintain your range, maintain that distance, and keep going ham. Now, just a quick tip as well that Mr. GUMAYUSI does here very nicely is he recalls in a safe position. Like, how many times have you guys recalled in your lane, like it might even be under your tower, and the enemy champion or the enemy jungler or someone like that has tried to stop your back and actually achieved it? Well, it's actually really valuable because time for me is the measurement of elo. Like, how well you use your time, that is going to determine what elo you're going to be in. That 5 seconds that you waste might be 2 minions, which is important. It might be a turret plate. It might be the difference between you stealing a dragon and not stealing a dragon. It matters. So make sure, guys, when you do recall, you're doing so in either an unwarded position or from well under your tower. Now, I'm going to give you another general rule of thumb here, guys, and this is really important as well. So in this fight right here, when Mr. GUMAYUSI roams to this fight near river, it looks kind of sketchy, right? Because he's in between Galio, who's over the wall, Rek'Sai, the Set just below, and Varus, who's almost off your screen. But what's important, guys, when you roam to these fights is that these fights, if you get there 2-3 seconds after the action has happened, guess what? That action means that champions have used cooldowns, used abilities, used summoner spells, whatever it is, which means that when you get there, they don't actually have them for you. So when Mr. GUMAYUSI runs in here, it looks a little sketchy because yes, Rek'Sai, he's in between like 3-4 enemy champions, but Rek'Sai was just burrowed and just came out of it. Galio is over the wall and doesn't have any cooldowns to get back over because he used his flash. So even though it looks pretty dangerous too, running straight towards this fight is safe because the fight has already started and begun and no enemy champions have their cooldowns. Set and Varus might have theirs, but they're too far away to really capitalize on GUMAYUSI's positioning. So when you are roaming to these fights, guys, from bot side, whether you're playing in the top lane as well or mid lane, just think to yourself that if your teammate and the enemy champions have been fighting already, there's a good chance that they have already used their cooldowns, so it's actually a lot safer than you think just to roam straight into that fight. Now, the last tip I want to give you guys from this Jhin game, and if you enjoy these type of analyses, these videos, let us know by leaving a like on the video down below. And the last tip I want to give you guys is this one right here. So Mr. GUMAYUSI, when he gets back to the bot lane with double buffs, you might say to yourself here, he's actually got a health advantage, he's got a mana advantage as well over the Varus, but in this situation, guys, Varus is still healthy enough to not really die. There's very little chance of GUMAYUSI actually killing him in this situation, right? But the most important detail on his screen right now for Mr. GUMAYUSI is his gold value. He is on such a good back timer right now. He's probably on like 1300, close to 1500 gold. He can recall, he can get a noon quiver, he can get swifty boots and maybe a longsword. He's just got that much gold, he needs to go back and spend it. Which is why you see him using his abilities on the wave, his auto attacks on the wave, instead of the Varus. So many people in lower elos, even I'm talking like Master GM, waste their auto attacks and their abilities on the enemy champion when they should really be pushing the wave in and just resetting, just getting that base off. So in your games, guys, when you're on a significant amount of gold, when you're on a serious major item, get the wave in, do everything you can to get it in as quickly as possible. That is the big key factor. Do not waste your cooldowns and do not waste your time by auto attacking the enemy champion. Get the wave in, recall. Now in this next game, guys, we talked about level 1, right? When you get to your lane, you want to be auto attacking and using your abilities on the minions. Well, watch what Mr. GUMAYUSI does. He auto attacks the minions as soon as he gets to lane. Way too many players just let the massive enemy creep wave come into them. They don't even fight for level 2. They just give up the lane control in that early game. Mr. GUMAYUSI, though, you can see how he's auto attacking. He's using his Q on these minions to not only secure them, but pressure the Aphelios as well. So there is a contested, but what do you do, guys? Because not every game you're going to get level 2 first. What happens when you don't have that minion wave push? Well, this is what you do. You back off when you know it's not the case. Mr. GUMAYUSI doesn't actually know this until this happens right here. You can see this blue range minion. This extra minion means that the enemy wave is going to push into Mr. GUMAYUSI. So at this stage in that first wave, in that first exchange, it's way too risky for him to stand behind his minions because yes, he can get called out by Thresh and the Aphelios who are going to hit level 2 first. So he just backs off. And as you guys watch this here, I could very well just cut this clip out because Mr. GUMAYUSI gets caught. so much for having T1 in his name. But I want to show you how important it is to use your summoner spells effectively. How many of you right here, when Thresh lands his hook onto you, would flash if you were in GUMAYUSI's position? I think most of us would. I think even I would. I mean, I am from OCE at the end of the day, so yes, I definitely would. But Mr. GUMAYUSI takes it next level. All he's going to do is heal. He doesn't even have to burn his flash. And what's also important here, guys, when you do get jumped onto by the enemy support and you might get hooked, is to run away from the primary threat. So the Thresh lands his hook, okay, it's pretty bad, but the enemy champion, by landing this hook, is now allowed to actually get some free damage onto you. So depending on where that enemy champion is, you have to run away from them. You can see here how Aphelios is to the left of the screen, GUMAYUSI runs to the right. This is so important. If he just runs back in a straight line, Aphelios can maintain that auto attack range and put some more damage onto him. This is why this fight all of a sudden just ends, even though GUMAYUSI was kind of caught out. Now yes, it's still a bad situation, he did get caught out, but this is the thing guys, by saving onto his flash and by moving away from the primary threat on the enemy team, he's able to stay in lane, he doesn't get killed, and he doesn't insta-lose. Now in the bot lane in particular guys, this sort of situation is going to happen a lot, and in 2v2s, in mid and top lane, in the rivers, at dragons, wherever it is, this is going to happen a lot. So when you are not the center of attention, when you are not getting focused, even here when Mr. GUMAYUSI is on 300 HP, you might be like, oh my god, you know, it's kind of sketchy, he might die, only 300 HP, but who are the enemy champions targeting? Pantheon, right? His support. They're targeting someone who isn't you, which means they're using their cooldowns, their auto attacks, their damage on your ally. They've got nothing extra for you, which then means you're a lot more free and safe to go in yourself and retaliate to try save your teammate and make it worth if they do end up dying, which is exactly what Mr. GUMAYUSI does here. He attacks that first target, attacking Pantheon, which is Thresh. He dies very quickly, and Aphelios dies as well afterwards. Because they're focusing so much on his teammates, he's then allowed to go in. But this doesn't exist, guys, if you're playing so scared and not realizing that, hey, the enemy champions are actually using their cooldowns on someone else. Even though I might be low, I can still go off here. Now, as Mr. GUMAYUSI comes back to lane here, guys, he's going to clear one wave, and then these three minions, you see these ranger minions right here, what's he going to do? He's going to walk into this first brush in the bot lane, and you can do this in the top lane. You can even do this in the mid lane to the side brushes. When the enemy team, guys, has an excess of minions, and 3 range minions is what you need, 3 healthy range minions for a freeze, you can walk into one of these brushes, you can drag them away from your tower, so they clash with your minion waves just in front of your tower like GUMAYUSI does here. Now this might not look that impactful, you know, oh, it's just a freeze, you know, who cares, it doesn't really matter that much in lower elo, but what happens as a result of this freeze? It's risky for the enemy champions to run up and get the CS because of jungle pressure, but you know what's also a threat? One of your teammates TPing, and watch this here, even though Pantheon ends up stunning a minion for whatever reason, maybe Aphelios paid him before the game, Galio TPs in because the lane is frozen, gets behind Aphelios, and he ends up dying. This situation, guys, this play does not exist if GUMAYUSI just endlessly pushes the wave for no apparent reason. He has an excess of enemy minions here, so he freezes the lane in front of his tower. That allows the TP, that allows your teammates to make plays on the map. That is how you can carry as an AD carry. Now the last game we're going to watch, guys, GUMAYUSI is playing his famous Jinx, and in this game you can see that Mr. GUMAYUSI and his allied Thresh are in this brush waiting for the enemy Tristana and Alistar to water lane. So why aren't they auto attacking the minions here? Well, this is because at level 1, Jinx and Thresh beat Tristana and Alistar. Alistar at level 1 is one of the weakest champions in the game. This is why looking for a fight is actually more beneficial than auto attacking and using your abilities on the wave. And if the enemy champions have leashed, like they have here, you can get the jump onto them and get an initial health advantage right off the bat. That's going to give you even more control over the laning phase. Now in this fight you can see here how GUMAYUSI flashes away because he doesn't want Tristana to blow up her explosive charge. Now what I think he could do is just heal like he did before. I think the flash is a little overkeen, and it's as if Tristana is the one with T1 in her name here and GUMAYUSI just says GUMAYUSI, so it's a bit of a weak flash to be honest. He could have been a bit more alpha, but still you can see at the end of this trade how this gives them the lane control, the advantage they need to win this early game and really put a dent in Alistar and Tristana's lane. And what's really great about this as well, guys, we just looked at a clip of GUMAYUSI freezing the wave, which brings his teammates into the game. Well, when your jungler is nearby, you can ping them to come in, and what's great about Elise is she's great at turret diving, of course, in the early game, but because Tristana and Alistar are so low, this play exists. This play would not exist if GUMAYUSI and Thresh did not go for that level 1 play, that brush cheese, because they'd still be way too healthy, they'd still have their summoner spells because Tristana used her cleanse, Alistar used his flash, and it would be way too risky to actually pull off. But in this situation, because they're so low, Elise can come in, your jungler can come in your games, it doesn't matter who it is, and you can potentially pick up 2 kills for free. Now, as we get into this last clip I'm about to show you right here, guys, it is the Jizz's last friendly reminder for you to check out the website, of course, because we're uploading so many videos a week, guys, for your benefit, for your entertainment as well, that are made by challenger experienced players and coaches and are designed to help you get to that next level of play. To get signed up, links down below. And yes, this last clip I'm about to show you right here, the Alistar engages onto GUMAYUSI, and you might be like, oh my word, Alistar jumping onto GUMAYUSI, the cow going ham. But this is like what we looked at before. The Thresh, who landed his hook onto GUMAYUSI when he was playing Kai'Sa, okay, he gets hooked. Where did he run? He ran away from that next threat, wasn't it? So GUMAYUSI, guys, in these clips is accepting that the enemy support has used their combo on him. But what's really important is that next combo that's going to come from that enemy support's allied champion, which is Tristana in this case. So watch where GUMAYUSI runs. He runs away from the Tristana down to the right here. You can see this distance between them. Tristana has barely auto-attacked, barely done any damage to him. Now, thankfully, Elise is in this brush, but Thresh even missed a hook. Even if Elise isn't in this brush, do you really think GUMAYUSI is going to die in a 2v2 here? Of course not. They might even be able to kill the Alistar here because he's created and maintained that space. I cannot stress how important that is. But take these tips into your games, guys. Again, you can apply this to any role, any champion, whatever it is. Well, maybe not River Shen, but most of them anyway. So if you enjoyed the video, remember to let us know by leaving a like down below. And until tomorrow's upload, this has been the Jizz. Bye.